Hello everyone, today we will introduce the case of Geely's acquisition of Volvo, and we will analyze the various matters related to this negotiation. Next part, please. Our presentation has 4 parts. First, let me introduce this case background. Next, and next. 2009 was a tough year for the American auto industry. Affected by the financial crisis, 2 of the 3 major US auto companies have successfully filed for bankruptcy protection and finally completed the reorganization with government assistance. Although Ford did not file for bankruptcy protection, it was also facing heavy debt pressure. In contrast, China's passenger car market increased its sales by 59% in 2009, surpassing the US for the first time to become the world's largest auto market. This situation provided opportunities for Chinese companies to acquire auto assets overseas. In fact, Ford announced in October of the same year that it had selected Geely as the preferred bidder for its Volvo subsidiary. Next, please. Let's take a look at Geely first. Geely is an automobile company headquartered in Zhejiang, China. It is the first private enterprise licensed by the Chinese government to produce automobiles and has become one of the fastest growing automobile companies in China. Geely focuses on the Chinese market and has many models, but most of them are low-cost models. In order to enhance its competitiveness, Geely urgently needs to establish its own technological and brand advantages. As a young auto company, Geely is also eager to acquire the marketing experience and distribution network of major auto companies by acquiring auto brands overseas. And Volvo is a Swedish luxury car brand owned by Ford. This famous European luxury car brand has always been known for its safety and environment protection and has many advanced technologies and patents. Volvo has more than 2,300 distributors worldwide, and its products are sold in more than 100 countries. In 1999, Ford purchased the Volvo car business from AB Volvo Group for $6.4 billion. In 2006, Ford suffered the worst loss in history and had to adjust the company's strategy. It has successfully sold several European luxury car brands to reduce the company's scale and ensure that it can focus on the development and operation of the Ford brand. Further affected by the financial crisis, Ford finally decided to sell Volvo at the end of 2009 to fill its debt gap. At this time, Volvo has experienced a decline in sales for several consecutive years and also suffered serious losses. Next, my partner will introduce the negotiation process.
In early 2007, Ford CEO Mulally decided to sell Volvo. The heads of the 2 parties had a formal contact for the first time, and both parties were open to the acquisition. Before the formal merger, Geely did a lot of the prepared work. The first is due diligence. In February 2009, the 2 sides met in China. Ford provided Geely with important data about Volvo. In March, Geely provided its first round of tenders in accordance with the international practice. In April, Geely formed a team of the 200 professors, conduct a comprehensive review and analysis of Volvo. The due diligence investigation lasted for 4 months. While conducting due diligence, Geely acquired DSI, an Australian automatic transmission manufacturer, to prepare for Volvo's full-scale production. After completing the due diligence and fully understanding of Volvo, Geely reports the acquisition plan to the China government and receives support. The China government helped Geely eliminate domestic competitors to a certain extent. It also prepared for Geely to seek finance. From September 2009 to February 2010, Geely raised 8.1 billion RMB from the government and other channels. After getting ready to enter the negotiation process, everything is not smooth sailing. At the next bid in July, there were two competitors, an American company and a Swiss company. Due to competition, the quotation once climbed to $2.8 billion. However, the two companies did not submit bids before the deadline and eventually withdrew from the competition. On March 28, 2010, the two parties signed the final agreement. Next page, please. Geely paid Volvo $1.8 billion. Geely acquired Volvo's initial technologies. At the same time, Geely has also obtained the P1 platform for the production of commuters cars, the P2 platform for the production of the large and medium-sized cars, and the D4 platform for the production of SUV. In addition, Geely acquired 100% equality and asset of the Volvo. All of the Volvo dealership network is owned by Geely, and a large number of the dealers are located in Europe and North America. Okay, let's move to the issue part.
Okay, so let's we move to the negotiation issues. So the first is about the technology. So Geely's strategy has shifted from the price war to the development of the technology and the quality service. Geely itself has no technical advantages. What is needed in strategic transformation is more advanced technology, energy conservation, environmental protection, and the safety performance. They also want to obtain Volvo's core technical as much as possible to realize the mutual sharing and the win-win cooperation. However, as a newly established Chinese private enterprise, Geely lacks the most technical talents and knowledge. Volvo has a large number of patents and advanced technologies, such as automobile environmental protection, urban safety system, automatic braking technology. So they want to return some core technology as much as possible to ensure their position in the market, because the technology of the Volvo and the Ford is interconnected. They are also worried about their technology will be stolen by the competitors. Finally, Geely obtained the Volvo's engine technology and the three main platform. Next, next issue is about the brand. So Geely's brand image and the price gave consumers the impression of the medium and the low-end positioning in the market. This makes Geely make a great profit in the cost and the price because of the Volvo's brand advantages. That Geely need to rely on the Volvo's brand influence to transfer to the high-end brand and improve this competitive position in the industry brand. Geely's hope to manufacture cars according to the requirement of the Chinese market and the needs of the consumers. Geely's biggest problem is that it can get close to the high-end positioning because they lack brand impression. Also, Geely lacks experience in the management of the high-end company. If directly acquire Volvo, it is like to lay the improper operation. As an international brand, Volvo had and Ford are the leaders in the global auto brand for the long time. Volvo manager hope that their brand can continue to develop in the direction of the low carbon and environmental protection. Volvo is concerned about their brand effect because the Volvo's manager did not consider the changes of the different market too much. The product were disconnected from the market. Secondly, Geely has no international brand influence, so the image of the Ford and Volvo may suffer after the acquisition. Geely's finally acquire all the equity and brand right of the Volvo. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Kenny. Now I will talk about the third issue, the distribution network. Geely's market was based in China and other developing countries in Middle East, Southeast Asia, Africa, Central and South America. However, they faced the difficulties in building a distribution network in the developed countries, where the local vehicle competitors will fight fiercely for their markets. Therefore, the most effective way was acquiring a well-known vehicle companies that already had a mature distribution network. On the other hand, Volvo has already accumulated 25,100 distributors, mainly located in the developed countries. 60% of them are in Europe and 30% in North America. The two markets are highly complementary without any overlaps. And after the deal, Geely had won 2,325 Volvo outlets and in more than 100 countries, including social service agencies and 4A stores. And next page. From Ford's perspective, fund is the most important issue. In 2006, Ford experienced the worst loss in its history, which is 12.7 billion US dollars. At this critical moment, Ford planned to reorganization and sold the loss-making brands to survive for the financial crisis. Ford Group sold Aston Martin in 2007 and continued to sell Jaguar and Land Rover to Tata Groups in the next year. However, due to the economic crisis in 2008, Ford further troubled by its tough financial conditions. They had no way but to further streamline the number of brands. Next page. Ford purchased Volvo since 1999. However, the sales began to decline since 2007, whose annual loss was as high as 1 million US dollars. Ford decided to sell the Volvo to relieve its financial burden. Geely's intention to purchase Volvo lasted for a long time, and their early negotiation with the National Development and Reform Commission and other governmental organizations laid a solid foundation for Geely to raise the funds and made them more competitive than other buyers. Geely raised 3 billion RMB through the government, which could meet the urgent requirements for Ford. And finally, the deal was done with 1.8 billion US dollars, which is satisfied by both parties. And next, I will pass to Hannah for the conclusion part.
Okay, here I come to the conclusion part. And this acquisition is the good example of the cross-cultural negotiation, and there are a lot we can learn from this case. Here I will conclude the reasons behind the great success. The first, Geely has an adequate preparation, and before the Woodward acquisition, Geely has two successful cross-border acquisitions of the managing branch of the UK in October 2006 and DSI of Australia in March 2009. And for these two merge cases, Geely summarized the negotiation plan aimed at the supplier system and the technical intellectual property rights. Geely has also found the solution to the problems of the capital's operation and the cultural conflict. Moreover, the acquisitions of Volvo has included in Geely's development plan a long time ago and has made fully preparations before the negotiation. Mr. Lee, who began investigating Woodward in 2002, saw a great possibility to take over Woodward. And in 2007, he began negotiating with Ford, and in this, Geely has hired a professional acquisition operation team. The team consists of members who have a high prestige in car industry. And during this period, Geely acquired many relevant consulting companies like law firms, accounting firms, and public relation companies to prepare the future negotiations. With the help of the professional institutions, all price point of the mergers and acquisitions activities are within the Geely's control. And meanwhile, Geely was already laying the groundwork for taking over the Volvo when it acquired DSI. And in addition, Geely's DS plant in the Jilin, Shandong province is about to start production in preparation for Volvo's global domestic suppliers. Next page, please. And Volvo and Geely each takes what they need. The Volvo needs money and the Chinese market. And in recent year, the Volvo suffers a poor sales and faced continuing losses. Ford had to sell the Volvo to reverse its deficit. Entering the B segment in China would help the Volvo achieve its global market goals and get rid of this situation. Ford plans to sell Volvo to smaller car company to avoid the future competitive threats. And because of the China's merge policy, Geely is Volvo's overwhelming choice. What Geely needs most is advanced technology and higher acclaimed brand imaging. Since the 2007, the company has begun a strategic transformation to its core competitiveness from cost advantages to technological advantages and quality service. Geely needs Volvo's advanced technology and famous brand, and buying Volvo is a definite way to enter the international market for Geely. The negotiation is based on win-win principle and there is no interest conflict. The two companies' sales market complement each other and mergers and acquisitions can meet the different needs of the two companies. And here pass to Elvis to add more details about the conclusion part.
Okay, thanks, Hannah. Now let me explain other parts why this negotiation had went well. One thing that Geely had done well in the negotiation was that it held firmly about its bottom line. Although Geely held win-win belief and always put itself in the counterpart's shoes, it made no concession when talking about intellectual property, which was one of the most important issues in this negotiation for Geely. It knew clearly about its priority and continued negotiation. Until Ford made a promise, and the negotiation about the issue of intellectual property and the technology had lasted until 1 week before the two negotiators reached an agreement. And Geely also insisted on its reservation price. Ford had several alternatives, such as the Grown and the Jacob consortiums. When these alternatives participated in the bidding, the quoted price climbed to $2.8 billion. Under such adverse conditions, Geely made no markup but guided Ford to pay attention to the benefits of long-term cooperation and use the substantiation and offer strategy, which is commonly used in face cultures, to put pressure on the deadline for submission of bids. Finally, Geely bought Volvo within its reservation price at $1.8 million. Another reason why the negotiation went well was that Geely paid attention to and respected cultural differences. At the beginning of the negotiation, there was skepticism about Geely, and Volvo didn't trust Geely for its lack of credibility. But Geely connected Nordic culture and Chinese culture. It cooperated with Volvo under the premise of showing respect to Volvo's intellectual property, thereby establishing trust between the two companies. So respecting different culture is important in cross-cultural negotiation. Before negotiation, people can make some preparations to learn how culture works in the process of negotiation. For example, the Chinese like to solve problems friendly and focus on long-term relationships, and faith is essential to them, while the Swedish are more direct and emphasize on results. And to reach satisfied negotiation outcomes in a cross-cultural background, it is important to get an insight into priorities and interests. In order to achieve this objective, negotiators need to share information, which is normally be regarded as mandatory by the Swedish indignity cultures. By using strategy such as question and answer, both Geely and Volvo performed well in this aspect. The bidding data provided by Geely was very detailed, and Ford also opened the database for information exchange, and such cooperation had promoted the negotiation successfully. And this is our presentation. Thank you.